I'm so close to being finished this commission. This is everything left I have to paint or finish. This is all of it. So I got the gore beasts. Give them some finishing touches, but like this is so close to being done. So we should be able to knock out the rest of this today, I think. I think I'm going to start by getting the Chariots finished. Then we'll get the Riders. And I did a little bit of work on it last night, but nothing much. Nothing you guys haven't already seen me do a bunch of times. When we're getting into stuff that is unfamiliar, I usually try to keep that to being on camera. I'm just going to come in with a brown, paint in the wood. I don't like what happened to it. We pulled into the pub at 6:15 and rolled up to the bar to open up the drinks. Say, whoa, I need to see you. Hot dress, don't you understand?
And sorry, just had to message the client really quickly. What's going on with my lighting right now? Getting washed out by something. Let's see if we can fix this. All right, let's try that. Now, super duper bright. Why am I still getting washed out? What is happening to my face? Is the sunlight coming in? Like, I genuinely do not know what is happening to my face cam. The room's not this dark. There we go. That's better. Welcome in, people. My lighting is really being weird today. That's okay. We can work with weird lighting. Cool. The wooden elements. Well, upstairs just went down like a sack of bricks. Pretty early in the day for him to be falling. So, he's going to still be drunk from last night. Silent judgment. Oh, alrighty. I'm still waking up, as if you couldn't tell, but I'm really excited to be getting to the tail end of this job. My client, and my client's agreed to a delivery date now. Nothing's what you get. 60 hours work week, 60 hours of sweat. And just kind of like casually gonna pretend that I'm not waiting for that to dry. So while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna do my green slime on the next model. Huh? I got rose gold on my wrist. I don't wear electric. Too many zeros so much. Can't count this. ASOP. I got soft skin GOAT. So first we hit him with the green. You need to play Vangelis. I don't know what that is, but how are you doing, White Wolf? Welcome in as well. Hope you're having a great day so far. Or hope you had a good day and your evening. No. Chariots of Fire. Okay. If you had have said Chariots of Fire, I would have understood. Da na 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 da ba da 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 dum. Chariots of Fire had a great soundtrack. To be honest, I don't give a fuck about anything in the movie, but the music was incredible and so intense. In my opinion, there was nowhere near enough chariot racing in the movie Chariots of Fire. In fact, I don't think there was a single chariot race. I tend not to be great with my composers. I should be better. Because I know it is an art form that has been moved away from in modern filmmaking of hiring a specific musician to come in and complete your score. And it's actually something video games started adopting more of. And we've seen the success of that with like Ross Trezenga's Helldiver soundtrack, or with Mick Gordon and literally all the soundtracks he's done. Prey, Doom. He's done more. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but literally both Prey and Doom, right? Like so, or the fact that the band Survivor did all the music for Rocky. And I mean that was also the one hit wonder generation, but it is something that I find that a lot of films are missing, is getting that element of musical composition. Because yeah, it's the same thing Spielberg was known for. Yes, they do. I mean, Trent Reznor is also one of those guys who's kind of a musical genius. Despite the fact that a lot of the Nine Inch Nails music is very like industrial and very exploratory. I don't even think that Nine Inch Nails is a good representation of the musical genius and capacity that all of those men are capable of. They're Nine Inch Nails is almost like where they just go to explore ideas, but those men are all like genius musicians. Plus, exactly. Especially because like one of the reasons I think I hold Trent Reznor in such high regard is when he publicly was like, no, Hurt is a Johnny Cash song. When he came out to say that Hurt is a Johnny Cash song, and he's like, nope, he took the song, he did something completely different with it and created something better than we could. Very like he personally believes that the Johnny Cash version is the best version of the song. And like that's when an artist has really achieved the level of being able to admire and appreciate artwork as well. It's very, very rare. Also, welcome in Nemesis. But that's a very rare talent for an artist to actually have, is to be able to have that. Exactly. It takes a level of manliness and assessment in oneself and confidence in oneself. Because I think another really good example of that actually is Bruce Dickinson, one of the very, very few musicians who is comfortable playing all three eras of Iron Maiden. And the reason I bring up the Iron Maiden one is because like Judas Priest won't sing anything from the Tim Ripper Owens days. They like Judas Priest will not play any Tim Ripper Owens songs. But then the flip side is because like they're like, well, that's not real Priest. Whereas like Iron Maiden, last time I saw them, they were like, hey, we're gonna take you guys. Like they announced that they were taking us back to the Blaze Bayley era. You know, I thought that was really cool. Like they straight up announced that it's like we're going back to the Blaze Bayley era of the band, and it's like, oh, cool. Not only are you going to go perform songs that were written by a different singer, but you're also then going to acknowledge him to that extent and be like, hey, we're going back to when this guy was the singer. Falling in Reverse cover songs or Falling in Reverse is one I'm not familiar with either. I think probably one of the downsides of being an independent artist, and this is something I'll actually say. The biggest downside to being self-employed is my exposure to new music has gone down drastically. I very much have to rely on like my Spotify algorithms and you guys telling me to check things out, because I'm not ever like at work where one of my buddies has the speaker and they're playing stuff I would normally never listen to and I'm totally vibing to it going, you know, this is probably Love Falling in Reverse. Great. I'll check them out. What song should I add to the queue? I'll do the Last Resort one because that sounds good. All right, let's try saying that a second time now that I'm not getting kicked out of OBS and disconnected from the internet. I'm back already. The second I said, what other song should I put on by them? It literally was like, nope, you don't get to ask that question. So I've got Last Resort queued up, which I'm excited for. And then if you guys have another song that you recommend, I'll throw that in. Because yeah, I would say like that's the biggest downside to being a self-employed artist. And this is gonna sound like a weird complaint, but like, you know, when you're like White Wolf, I guarantee you know this feeling when your coworker you hate gets the aux cord the one day and all of a sudden they're just playing absolute bangers you haven't heard and you're like, oh, okay, okay. When you're, you know, the guy you're just expecting to play absolute shit, and then they like put the music on, and you're like, yeah, I don't know this, but this is all really good. I miss that. I miss that feeling. I know you work in in the kind of shop where you probably have to deal with other people being in control of the music quite often. How you doing, Pascal? Welcome in, welcome in. And so the other one is watch the world burn. Okay. And so something I was gonna say is I know you guys you played Total Warhammer. So not you, Pascal. I'm good. I'm really good today. It's morning and I am about 20 minutes away from my ADHD meds working. But beyond that, I'm really good. I was listening to shitty mainstream radio. I have the best taste in music out of 130 employees. Oh, that's a fact. I didn't realize it was. I assumed this was like a small, like, auto body shop where there were, like, 6 to 8 guys, or like maybe 12 of you at most. It is. I always assumed it was like a smaller kind of shop where. But that makes more sense if it's. That also explains why you have so many fucking idiots at work. Then. Something you're not allowed to it's something you might not be allowed to say, but it explains, like, you got 130 people, you're guaranteed 50% idiot ratio at work. Normally 12 people, you can deal with 4 or 5 idiots, but 70 idiots? That's a lot of fucking dummies. I say it all the time to my boss. You gotta. It's the problem with the 50% ratio, right? Is that you just. It's too easy to accidentally staff all idiots at 130 employees when 50% are idiots. Good morning, Darius. Hope you're having a great day. But yeah, I was gonna say for Chaos Chariots, Chaos Lords can take a chariot, right? In Old World. I'm pretty sure they can. I deal with 27 of those every day. Yeah, but yours are children. They have an excuse. Unless you're talking about the adults, in which then, yeah, probably they don't have an excuse. They're supposed to be educators. If you're referring to your colleagues, yeah, that makes sense. Children, give them a pass. Excuses. I have low expectations that children are going to be anything other than difficult. You call them children. I believe Castlers. That's what I thought too. So the guy, he sent me to he sent me both variants of the Manticore Rider, but only one Manticore, right? So I used this fucking awesome ass dude riding the Manticore. So we went with the one wielding the scythe. But now I have. Where is it? Where is it? Shit. There he is. Now I have this extra Manticore. Now I have this extra Chaos Lord. And I think I've asked the client if I can slightly convert him to being a Chaos Lord on Chariot. So I'm waiting for the approval on that one because he shorted me a halberdier. And then just letting him know I was short a halberdier, but the other option, and it's the hard part with this one is I don't, because I moved during this, I don't know if he didn't send me the model or if I lost it. So it's one of these awkward situations where because there's a missing dude, I'm like, okay, well, I have an extra AOS halberdier that I can clip and convert and use for this, but I have to tell him. I was like, so I got shorted a model that I needed, so I can do a conversion here to make this work still. If you're okay with that, or we can. All right, is that dry enough yet? And where's my. And let's. Pascal, I think you'll get lots done tonight. You just got to put your mind and your heart to it. But yeah, I think you'll get lots done. It's just got to put your mind to it. Because once the brush starts moving, you'll feel good. I've seen how you paint, Pascal. Like, the second you touch your brush to the model, you tunnel. It's a good way to be. Just got to fight the ginger beef approach and actually get your brush down. I give him shit for. Dude's been painting like crazy on streams lately. He finally listened to the thing where I was like, dude, just fucking get into value sketching your model out. You know, like, it was the thing I'd been telling him for a while is like, dude, just value sketch your models in first, refine everything after, because you spend hours and hours and hours refining something, and then you don't even know if it's going to be right once the rest of the model's painted. And I was telling him, I was like, dude, you're constantly working yourself in circles. Get all your lighting established, get everything established, get all your colors placed in, then refine the whole thing at once. That's the boneless approach to painting, is for anybody that doesn't know. We work very. Oh, that was to ginger beef. It's him and I were chatting about that, and like, since like he has been doing way more value sketching, and he's been painting way faster. I'm not sure if you've popped in lately, but like, we're talking like, shit, I just spilled coffee everywhere. 1 second. We're talking like a tenfold speed increase. It's fucking crazy. Like, mad props. Because he's an incredible painter. He's just not the fastest painter. So now he's an incredible painter who's painting at a pretty quick speed too. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. I'm a fast painter learning to be a good painter. That's how I need to be with my garden railroad project. That's honestly it, Darius. You said, because you mentioned you're building a railroad project with the family. Step 1, map your track. Map out your track first. Start with a simple loop. You can always add on. You got your first train yesterday? Oh, hell yeah. What scale? HO. HO. So HO is the about yay big? Or is HO the like these ones? Oh, okay, the HOs are the littler ones. Okay. H is the bigger sized one. My family does. Yeah, so my grandpa collects H. And my, like, I don't even know how I'm going to describe that one. I'm just going to say other people I know collect HO. My grandpa said HO got too small for him to be able to see. Yeah, you're right. You were right, White Wolf. I do quite like this. Very, very early 2000s in its sound, but they're doing it well and in a unique and genuine way. It's almost like if Limp Bizkit tried out trap. Yeah, dude can fucking. You are right though, White Wolf. Dude can fucking rap. Got a bit of a little more power metal-y than I was expecting too. My wife even came up with the perfect name. Ooh, what are you calling it? Is it the Swayze Express? Frankenstein Railway. See, mine would be the Swayze Express. That's a very Canadian joke. I feel like nobody in here is really gonna get that one. Sometimes I make jokes understanding maybe one person in my audience might get it if they're here. Also, we're getting people flocking in, so we'll start shoutouts fairly soon. There we go. Quick aged wood effect. Takes no time to do. I'm gonna give that one a bit more time to dry because it's kind of going a bit muddy. Frankenstein Railway is pretty awesome. The Swayze Express is Trailer Park Boys. It's a train they steal. It's a model train that they steal. Until then, keep your distance, son, when the destruction of the fish gets done. For the only the first 7 seasons are worth watching. Everything after that is like anything post Showcase isn't really understanding other than Trailer Park Boys Jail kind of gets it because the like Showcase era really understands that it's also a social commentary on like it's a comedy, but it's also like a social commentary about the types of poverty that exist within Canada. And the different like types of people you'll meet in those impoverished communities. So like there's a lot of social commentary within the early seasons of Trailer Park Boys that starts getting lost more and more and more as the show goes on. And as the show loses that, it starts to embrace ridiculousness instead in like true almost animated show fashion, which is why at one point they even tried to launch the Trailer Park Boys back as an animated show. But yeah, the only modern Trailer Park Boys that really kind of gets and understands what the show is actually trying to go for is Trailer Park Boys Jail, where and that one's done by Bruce McCullough, which is one of the kids in the hall. But yeah, Trailer Park Boys is a great show and fantastic Canadian humor. Which is weird to say, but like it's iconic Canadian humor. Trailer Park Boys, Fubar, again, one of my personal favorites, Hardcore Logo. I don't I don't know if any of you guys would understand Fubar. Like, I feel like the humor in Fubar might be too Canadian for y'all. I don't know. Maybe I'll see if I can find the clip I'm looking for. There we go. Here we go. We'll pause the music for a second. Little desktop audio.
Fucking whoa. You know what this fucking says? It says Tron Funkin' Blow. The fuck is that mean? If I have 5 words left and I'm about to fucking expire, and and all I have left to say is to curse fucking Tron, I'm probably not gonna say Tron Funkin' Blow.
But, like, just to get very, very awkward kind of Canadian humor. I don't know that Fubar would land with most of the audience. What's up, Jinx? I has good news. I'm sure you saw I have a timeline on my delivery. I don't know if he's gonna hire me back. I mean, he's never not immediately hired me back out, so. But that means, yeah, good things coming. But welcome in, everyone. Welcome in, Jinx. I'll start shoutouts here in just a moment. I'm gonna slap this orange coat down really quickly. But that is good news for everyone. Hoping. I also, unfortunately, the Chaos Commission fell through. He did not agree to the price and was just like, you know what? I'd like to, it's the way commission goes a lot of the time. Sucks, but we'll see if any of the other ones come through. In the meantime. It's dumb, so okay, here we go. And we'll start the shoutouts. Meow. First one in today was my guy White Wolf. So, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here as always. And we're just hopping around right now trying to get the last tail end of this commission done because we're so close. Okay, next up. I'm just going to wait for that to be dry enough to start the next step. That's the point in the commission we're at. Oh, no worries, dude. You were always worth shouting out. I just always try to wait about 45 minutes because so. Also, 15 stream streak. Holy shit, Jinx. Grab the baseline, get the skulls. I guess I hang out here. I appreciate it. I'm glad. I like to think of it as the best kind of second monitor content. Just engaging enough to keep you listening and hanging out, not engaging enough to distract you from your work. It's the perfect background sound. And as a painting streamer, that is my goal. I'm just here to be the perfect second monitor content. Put me on in the other room, go off, do the things you got to do, forget about what's happening, periodically check in. And just enough so that way you can leave for 40 minutes, come back, and you haven't actually missed anything. I like to think of myself as comfort food. Or, the streaming equivalent of comfort food. I'm just here to be in there in the background. I don't serve a real purpose, but that's okay. Those are looking fucking awesome. On that note, it was kind of funny. I bet you do, White Wolf. My client was like, "Oh my god, the gore beast looks so good, blah 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 blah," and I'm like trying to show him everything else in the army, and the only thing he's looking at is like the dry brushed gore beasts, and I'm like, "They're not done though. Please look at everything else, sir. This is one of the least impressive parts of the army." It's like, the backs of those gore beasts look so good. And I was like, dude, I blended out over 50 white cloaks. I blended 50 white cloaks out to this standard, and he's like, the backs of those gore beasts look so good. And I was like, do you know how hard it was to do 50 ivory cloaks? People are always going to be impressed by the things that you're just like, okay, well. You know what? At the end of the day, if the client's happy, that's what matters. But that was one of those moments where I'm just like, I spent so long on everything other than... The gore beasts are the only thing that I really feel like I phoned in. The only part of the project, I'm like, I feel like I phoned that in a bit much. And that's the part he's like, oh, it's my favorite part. And I was like, okay, well, I think you're really going to like them when they're done then. Because if they're your favorite part, I'm going to throw some more love into them. Because somebody was suggesting, and I agreed with them, that it is always best to sell your models at one standard higher than the client paid for. And it is not the person I'm shouting out right now. The person I'm shouting out right now is Nemesis. They're also an amazing streamer, also an amazing content creator, painter, and a fun person to hang out with. Yeah, Pascal was giving me a bit yesterday, telling me we were chatting about it, and I'm in full agreement. Like, for anybody who's wanting to get into the commission sides of things, there is always an element of needing to exceed your client's expectations. Fortunately for me, I'm a terrible photographer. That is genuinely to my advantage, because my clients typically, when they see my work in person, they're like, how are you this bad at photography? There we go. Bit of the brown wash in there, just to bring a bit of that kind of color back in. Exactly. It's something I've said as well. Like, that's where it gets weird with commission painting a lot of the time, is that a lot of what we do in our display painting and our high-end painting and our competition painting isn't for regular people. We're doing it for artists, right? 95% of people who look at your work, Jinx, 95%, like 98% of people who look at your work, Pascal, like 85% of people looking at my work, you know, they don't actually see what I've done. They just think it looks cool. You know, it's when where we're at, we're getting into a very small percentile of people who are actually looking at the piece going, oh, this is what techniques were executed here. This is how flawlessly they were done. Oh, holy, you know, like that's not for people. Like that's not for our clients. That's for us. We do that for each other. You might get the odd person who can really see and appreciate what you've done, but they're usually other artists. That's been what I've noticed in my career. It's strange. It's strange. It's kind of like the bodybuilding principle. I don't know if I'm about to blow people's minds with this one, or if this is a common thing people talk about or no. But there's a joke in bodybuilding that there reaches a point in bodybuilding where oftentimes guys will start working out and getting in shape to attract women. But once you get into bodybuilding, you don't actually end up attracting women. You end up attracting other men who are now coming up to you asking how to achieve your physique. It's quite funny, actually. It actually works the inverse, is guys will often spend a bunch of time doing bodybuilding to attract women, and they actually just end up attracting male attention. Ich bin unbesiegt. It's yeah, just a funny way how it kind of goes full circle like that. We laugh. The same thing, you know, like in sport too, like a lot of the guys are like, oh, women are going to think it's so cool that I can fight. And it's like, no, dude, only guys think that's, or it's like, for the most part, only other guys think that's cool. It's kind of funny. We go to the gym with the fucking mindsets of 12-year-olds. I say this as a man who, you know, experienced all of it himself. Although then, hilariously, my combat sports did end up playing a bit of a role in meeting my partner. I think I've talked about this again on stream. She was a rugby player. Very, very good one. When she retired as team captain for her Prem team. A very, very good player. But when we first met, I used to help her out with some of her wrestling. And that was really one of the first things we connected on, is she was working on like how to, as she was getting a bit older, she was finding she couldn't just like blast tackles the same way. So what we were working on was how to use single leg takedowns instead, and how to do proper wrestling takedowns, so that way she wouldn't be just like fucking smashing into people instead. Like, here's how you hurt them more and hurt yourself less at the same time. So then we would like literally just go outside and actually try and get her to fucking wrestle. Which, I'm not a great wrestler, but I'm not a bad wrestler. And when I'm trying to teach people how to wrestle, I'm not going easy on them either. So she figured some stuff out, and she practiced and got some in, but I'm still the better wrestler of the two of us. Fact. Boneless can yeah, you heard it here first. Boneless can out-grapple his wife. That's a real claim to fame right there. Funnily enough, I also have cleaner striking than her, but she's the heavier puncher of the two of us. It is quite funny. I'm faster. I've got a way better movement. She is the heavier puncher. She can just fucking sink her weight behind her hands in a way that I'm like, I don't know, man. I think she could have gone pro if she went fight, or if she wanted to do boxing. If she ever wanted to box, she could have gone pro. She'd just be knocking people out left and right. Hello, Tick. How you doing? I'm having a good day so far. Did the same thing I usually do. I woke up, made myself depressed by reading the news, took my ADHD meds to stop feeling depressed, had some coffee, booted stream up, avoiding talking about the things I read on the news. You know, standard morning. I found out today that we introduced new government legislation that gives the government the ability to override the health authority on banned pesticides for the sake of national food security. AKA, that means we've put legislation in place as of this morning that allows field bombing of strychnine again. Yay! Strychnine! Yeah, reading all about that this morning, and it was bad enough though that at least one thing that made me glad is that it was big enough that it was not just in Canadian subreddits. It kept showing up in world news, which is, again, this is a good thing because while this makes me frustrated and everything, if it's showing up in world news, that means it's significantly. I like strychnine, but you really got to watch out for the 1 through 8. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, Mambo number 3 just didn't do it for me. He really didn't figure it out until the 5th. Yeah, it is good because it is something where I'm seeing it in the world news cycle instead of just the Canada news cycle, which means that if international news outlets are picking up on it, this is kind of a big deal, as most Canadian policy does not make the international news cycle and does not pick up any international interest whatsoever. So yeah, it is good news and bad news. So that's the reason I'm mentioning it is because I was like, while I was stressing out about it this morning, I'm kind of at that moment where I'm like, Boneless, if this is in the world news cycle, that means we're going to be receiving international pressure rather than just word to your mother. What's up, Spoon? Also, shit, next to phone shout out list. Before I forget. Mr. Pascal Ruse. We also got Jinxie and Spoonhandle on that list still. Welcome in, Spoon. But yeah, so that's kind of the key to that one is rather than being frustrated about it, I'm taking that moment to appreciate that I was like, okay, if the international news cycle picks up on Canadian news, that typically means that we will be receiving international pressure not to go through with the legislation. So it is good. It is both good and bad, right? It is definitely receiving major opposition, but the problem is that we have a majority currently, so we can only oppose so much without people crossing party lines. And the liberals really do not like people crossing party lines. I mean, nobody likes it, so I'm not going to just say it's exclusive to them. Anyways, no worries. Boneless started singing, so we checked out. And while those are drying, I'm just going to do a bit of wet blending on this cloak. There we go. But yeah, once you have the brush, like as I keep saying, once you get the brush moving, we know that it's going to go quickly for you. Because, like, I've seen how you paint, Pascal. In fact, I'm challenging you. Because you're 9 hours ahead, so it's currently 8 p.m. for you. Meaning you probably got, what, 2 hours you can paint for? I challenge you to finish a model today. I'm challenging you. I want to challenge you to start and finish something tonight. You got 2 hours. I know you can. Unless you want to work on a display piece or something, but if you're waffling, I'm going to challenge you to paint something up in the 2 hours you have. I mean, also, I know it's a Friday night, so you probably can stay up past 10 p.m. if you really wanted to, but I'm making the assumption. Still on the Dark Elf? Did Jinx send you her rendition of the Dark Elf that she did? She did like a little play around on Photoshop to fix the washout we were seeing. And I'm like, I was just like, did she send that to you as well? Because, like, or did we do that on stream, or I can't remember. He saw, okay. I couldn't remember if he was in here when that happened or not, so I was just having that moment of being like, did that happen? Because that was, not to be rude, I was trying to be, like, helpful. All right, and let's come in with another just heavy kind of wet. We're very wet on wet right now, as you can see. So don't be afraid of just like caking paint on there, letting it kind of do its thing, have some fun, get a little gross and dirty, and just like blend it out. You don't need a PC to paint. White Wolf is spitting facts here. And again, I'm just wet on wet right now, kind of letting my paint mix with each other on the... letting the colors kind of mix on the brush and on the model itself. And as they're getting... So one of the things you're going to notice I do when I'm doing my wet blending and my wet on wet technique, because you're noticing I'm not going back for more paint, right? So what you're going to see when I do a wet on wet and when I do that blend, I start at my brightest spot and I continue down the model. So that way, as my brush is getting dirtier and darker and dirtier and darker as the paints mix together in my brush, I'm pulling the darker paints further and further down the model. So that's just a nice little trick, you guys, for when you're doing kind of wet blending. If you want to move very quickly, you can actually choose a directional blending to prevent yourself from having to reload your brush. And every time you have to go back, you... Oh, we got Pascal versus White Wolf here? Fuck yeah, I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm sorry, Pascal, but if we're talking cage match, I'm putting $30 on White Wolf. His kickboxing base and his reach is just an unbelievable advantage that I don't see many people being able to get through because he is a gangly fucking bastard. I see his reach being problematic for anyone. I'm a pacifist. Emphasis on the fist part. I think that's how most people are, White Wolf. The more I learned how to do it, the less confrontations I ended up in because I was just ended up becoming a situation of being like, okay, well, like, I don't need to prove to anybody I can do this. I just want to get home safely. You know, I don't have that chip on my shoulder being like, I gotta prove that I can protect myself and my family. No, fuck it, dude. Best self-defense is 2 feet in a heartbeat. That means you're good at pacifying people, right? But no, there's a genuine truth to that, White Wolf, is that, like, I find that the only people who ever seem to want to get into altercations are people who haven't been in altercations before. I will philosophize you. Consider the lily. And like such, we're just hitting a really fast and easy, just like la 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 la. Let's blend out a cloak. This song might get me in trouble, actually. I think I need to change this. beating on their bottles and waving their guns, thinking that they're the only way. But if they're not careful, the rest of the world is gonna get them one of these days. Have you moved from the brush, or is it running from your guidance? Not feeling that one either. No. Oh, fun fact, we played this one on my brother's funeral. This was the song we did during his slideshow. What brush is going to want to write for Pascal? He sticks them in his mouth. It's true. I mean, don't we all, though? The Armageddon box looks awesome. You may bury me with an enemy on Mount Cavalry. You could stack me in a pyre and soak me down with whiskey. Roast me to a rotten crisp and throw me in a pile. I don't really give a shit, I'm going out in style. I don't really give a shit, I'm going out in style. Oh my god, can I? It's gonna be the Pascal Rose's equivalent of selling the bathwater. He's gonna send fucking brushes he's held in his mouth. I still can't believe people bought soap made with somebody's bathwater. That's one of the worst things that ever happened. That is one of the worst things one of the worst stories I ever read about. Actually, one of the main reasons, or actually played a huge role in me no longer using Dr. Squatch as a brand. I was like, I thought like that was such a fucked up thing that they did that I was like, you know what? Dr. Squatch released a soap made from Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. Yeah, it's why I stopped. It's literally the main reason why I stopped supporting their brand. Is I was like, this is fucked, and you were catering to the absolute worst parts of the internet. You were catering to the worst parts of people, and you are trying to profit off of the utmost degeneracy of humanity. And it bothered me to the point that I was like, you know what? I won't use Dr. Squatch soaps. If you didn't know about that, Darius, you can fact check me on it too. Oh. You know, the worst part is that it got sold out and people were scalping the soap. You'd say, you know what? I'm not going to fault her for it. Get that bag. I'm not going to fault her for it. If somebody would pay for fucking if somebody would pay for my bath water, or if people would pay hundreds of dollars for my bath water, don't think for a second I would not be selling it. Okay? I'm not going to fault her. However, I am going to fault the company that's trying to profit off of that and market it and also try to, exploit her for their own personal gains. Yes, like it just, I just, everything about the situation felt wrong to me. If she was making her own independent brand of soap with her own bath water, that would be fine. But it's the fact that it's a company marketed to men's hygiene products that is being like, hey, buy this woman's soap. Buy this woman's bathwater soap, because that's not fucking creepy at all. I'm gonna refill my coffee because I'm like actually feeling my heart rate coming up right now, being like, I don't like this. Get some stimulants in me to calm me back down. Fuck, if someone would pay for my bath, well, you see, Krusty, you get it. You get it. I'm not saying I'm above it. I'm just saying my issue with it is the exploitative nature of the fact that it is. My issue is the exploitative nature of it, not the. Yeah, it's particularly because it is the specific company doing it. But yeah, I don't want to go too far into all that, right? Meow. Just let me find my other dry brush. Where the fudge did I put my metallic dry brush? There you are. Instead of a brush, working with clippers, knife, sandpaper, cleaning a new model, does that count? Yes, it does. Model prep absolutely counts. Okay, the next step is I got to do my silver. Oh. So these guys are dry. So where's my bright silver? Where's my bright silver? There you are. We're homeward bound from the Arctic grounds, rolling down to old Maui. But yeah, anytime I hear the song "Going Out in Style" makes me smile, because while it brings up the unhappy memories of the fact that it was used at my brother's service, what it does bring up the positive memory of is that his service was so busy. We had people standing in the parking lot. They had to set up extra speakers and things outside. And so many people came out for it, and it was so amazing to see. So there was a huge, like, positive association in that way of the song, while bringing up the negative memory of, like, my brother's service brings up the positive memories of all of the love so many people had for him. He was a character. And never would have been able to come on stream because he would have gotten me banned within 8 minutes. He had absolutely no filter. Anybody ever wonder where I learned that from, of just saying the first thing that always comes into mind? It's also slightly on my mind because the anniversary was like a week and a bit ago. First time I've ever worked on the day, though. I actually streamed on the anniversary, and I did pretty okay. I don't think anybody noticed that I was like that I was kind of off that day. So as you guys see, we're coming through. Just dabbing. Letting it go on unevenly and splodgy. So we get that nice rattled and weathered metal effect. There we go. Next up, come back into the orange after we do that. Pick out our spots where we... Get some grimy areas. Maybe around the wheels, you know? In the great feasting hall, splendor of all, die in battle, do us proud. Have you ever guys shown a half-painted miniature nipple? I've shown full miniature nipple, and I showed an actual nipple on stream once. It was mine. I accidentally showed my nipple once trying to show off a tattoo, but I've both human and miniature. Nips out for Pascal. There we go. We got the chariots ready to dry again. And then hilariously, I think they're pretty close to being ready to varnish and dry brush again. I mean, well, that's a statement I never thought I would read. But again, this is why I say, Krusty, you heard my rant the other day. Okay, hot coffee. Quick pee break. I will be right back. we return. I was going through shoutouts. I got to pass. Next, there we go. That was the one I missed. I'm like, I got too used to having a mod in here doing it for me. Now I'm like, shit. I gotta remember to shout people out. Shout out Jinx Dart. If anybody is not following her, an incredible painter whom I have learned a lot from, and you can too. There we go. Fuzz that out again. What do I do next? I think I need to do a... Oh, that's right. That's the next step. Sorry. I'm a little bit bouncy right now because I'm at the very tail end of a project, which means I'm constantly having to just move to what I can do right now. And I've got about 4 things at 4 different stages, so I'm constantly adjusting my process in my brain and being like, okay, we're going backwards, we're going forwards, we're going backwards, we're going forwards. The graveyard. Oh, god damn it. This is the paint that I keep forgetting I can't shake. When am I going to learn that I cannot shake the Basilicanum Gray? How many more streams is it going to take of me doing this before I figure it out? So the 4th or 5th time this has happened now? And genuinely, at this point, I don't even know. And now we start with the black wash. Nice heavy soaking. And there we go. Got the dark wash over him now. Clear that one off. And then, oh, look, we'll use a little bit of pink to get the his weird plume thing that needs something, and we gotta obviously find an element to get the magenta in on these guys. So for this guy, it's gonna be on that big plume on his head. And then again, we've done a lot of the problem right now, again, if you guys are kind of seeing, is that a lot of what we're doing is very wet. So I can only do so much at a time before I have to then, again, move steps. And then same thing on these guys. Come through, just grab the pants. And the helmet things with a bit of the ivory that we've got here. Same thing. Sorry. Grab the next one. Repeat the process. Shake it good. Everything is me flailing paint and breaking stuff. Also, hilariously, while not my most liked clip, it is now my most shared clip of all time. Goop the slime hole is my most shared clip on Instagram now. People just keep sending it to each other. It's quite funny because it's not getting very many likes, but the shares have now exceeded the likes. That is a first for me, where I've ever gotten more shares than likes on a post. But that is one of my best performing clips of all time. Okay, get the bit of the pants and a bit more on the helmet. And there we go. Hello, Achromatic. Welcome in. Hope you're having a great day so far. I'm going to be here for a while today. Silence. Acknowledge in silence. Hilariously, you pop in while one of our local bands is playing. Why not pop into a stream with a little awkward AC going on? The singer is the manager of the terminal. This is awkward AC. Yeah, this is the manager's band. I've been frequenting that. I mean, not these days, but I was a frequenter of that place from like 2012 until probably almost 2020. I was practically a fixture on the wall. That's before it, even before they changed names, back when it was still a dive bar. Although they didn't get rid of the piss trough, which keeps me happy. Very likely. Although, I will say, if you end up hearing about my reputation due to anything involving that, Don't bring it to stream. There's very different points in my life, but you'll get to hear. You might hear some wild shit. Anybody who finds out about my early 20s is just like, what the fuck were you doing? And I was like, I don't know, drugs. I wish I could tell some of those stories on stream. I was telling one story recently about when I saw Green Jello perform there, and they just played the same song they just played the same 6 songs over and over and over again for 90-something minutes. Was one of the greatest trolls I've ever seen. They just kept playing the same songs. They played Three Little Pigs. I think if I said before, like, it was like 4 or 5 times that night they played the song Three Little Pigs. But I was one of the 3 little pigs at that show. It was a good show. Was that the RA the Rugged Man show recently too? So, same thing. Like, if you go to any of the hip hop shows, you've probably seen me around. And same thing with some of the metal shows. Like, I'll typically, like, if Under the Mountain or Bort's ever playing, you'll usually find me there. Because the guys from Under the Mountain are good guys. They're all buddies of mine. I've known the drummer since I was a kid, like, genuinely. First time we met, I think I was 14 or 15. So, like, I've known their drummer since I was in high school. He'd only just graduated, and he was the drummer of a band out on a completely different part of the province. And so we just ran into each other at the bar one night, and we're like, why do you look so familiar? It was fun. Here the fun story from then is, like, actually thinking back on, like, me and the drummer from Under the Mountain is we decided one night to just crash a party. So, like, all the bars were closing down, and him and I just, like, looked for a large group of people, pointed, and just got into a random taxi with people and went back to their house with them because somebody was talking about having, like, oh, parties at my place, and we're like, fuck it, let's go. I have no idea who this person is, but nobody told us to get out of the cab, so we got in the cab with them, went there, and ended up raiding their liquor cabinet. And after pretty much drinking the place dry, I just remember him and I sitting out on the back deck trying to polish off their last bottle of booze, which was a fifth of blue curacao. And him and I just fucking piss tanked on the absolute piss tanks on the deck, passing a bottle of curacao back and forth, being like, huh, huh. And then, so as an ongoing gag for the longest time, we could just, like, send each other a picture of it, and both of us would just be immediately just like, We ran into each other the next night after that at a show, and we're both just like, dude, I've never been this hungover before. Anyways, for anybody that wondered what Boneless's youth was like, I'm not sure. Anybody else here done that? Any of y'all ever just gotten into a random taxi, gone to someone's house, and polished out their liquor cabinet? See, the reason it works here is because in Canada, most people are too polite to say they don't know you or that they don't know who that person is. So everybody's going to assume you're someone else's friend at a party. So it's one of the few countries you can just walk into a party and most people won't identify right away that you're not. Like you can usually hang out for a few hours before people are able to. This wasn't my grandma's. This was a stranger's. This was a stranger's up to and including their blue curacao, which is a bottle of like blue liqueur. It was like almost St. Patrick's Day with the fucking colors coming out of me the next day. Too bad there are no jobs back in my hometown, 'cause I don't really want to go. I'm gonna end up working in Fort McMurray. But I feel like everyone's polished out their grandparents' liquor cabinet at some point. It's like a rite of passage to being a teenager. Man, this stream is off topic right now, but I am okay with that. As the flesh wash is drying on this one, I'm going to come back to the one that it is dried on, this guy. And we're going to apply a slight bit of Beal Tan Green now, because we want to give them a bit of a sickly green hue to their flesh, and then we'll come through and we'll just throw a couple quick little highlights on them. It's not even going to need that. That's perfect as is. That's giving me the definition and the color I want. There we go. Yeah, that sounds about right. Again, feel like we've all been there. That just sounds like a standard teenager thing to do. Like that's honestly crusty. That's just like sounds like regular teenager stuff. At least growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, it definitely was. I'm not sure what kids today get up to. I grew up in the Jackass generation, right? So like we were all about doing as much stupid shit as we possibly could, but this was of course before the era of cell phone cameras as well. So you could get away with doing as much stupid shit as you wanted to, because typically the only person who'd have a copy of the recording is your buddy who owns the video camera. Back in the good old days. Hi, Sigurd. Is it time for your wet food? My cat wants wet food. 1 second. Here you go, baby. Today's story time is brought to you by Studio Boneless. Excellent. Yeah, my cat's actually eating today. All right. Cats are being good boys. Mimir, just because I said you're being a good boy doesn't mean you get to be a bad boy. Sorry, Fatty's trying to get in. It's too much for your brother. Oh, there we go. Just went and got everything dealt with there. Put a pouch in, and then we'll get back to painting. Excellent. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, we're awake. We're here. We have a job and we do things. We are gonna do it so darn good. Just take this. Damn. And then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna come in with the magenta for the straps. They're a little bit wet right now though, so we gotta be very careful doing that. Got it. That's one. And number two. And then the battery dies. It's one of my favorite Death Clock songs. We're gonna get the Chaos Star into the magenta color. Oh, so I've been again, so I've been talking about it a bit. I've been AFK farming on Valheim quite a bit when I'm streaming and like just doing stuff around the house. Because if I have to have the PC on, I'm like, I might as well be growing my crops and gathering eggs and food and chickens and stuff. So I'm going quite well, and I think I'm almost ready now. I just got to find a couple people to help me out with the fight because I've gathered all the materials I need, and now I just need someone to help me out with fighting the queen. If anybody is like Mistlands geared or above and wants to help out with that, let me know, because I could actually use a hand or two. Oh, dude, Stardew's great. Once, like, Stardew is how I play Project Zomboid. Kill all the zombies, then build a beautiful little town settlement. And there we go. And while that dries, I'm just going to take another quick pee break because I've had too much coffee this morning. That's not going to stop me from drinking more. It's just, you know, the reasoning. We're back. Okay. But yeah, so I've been doing my Valheiming in the background. So I'm just trying to find some, like, because all my other friends who play Valheim with me are way behind me in the game. And it's a little frustrating, so... Well, not frustrating. I get it. I'm the only one who is a professional artist. The rest of them have, you know, to leave their homes. But, yeah, I don't think frustrating is the right word I'm looking for. I would say it's more so just, like, I'm trying to find a couple of my friends that can help out, because... Or someone who can, because they're all behind quite a bit. And Usually to get them to help, I have to either have all of the gear and items ready for them, but I don't think they've even finished the planes yet, so they're not exactly in the position to be doing that for me. We're gonna chat with AWOL, but it's gross brush looking. Your brushes. Forgot I was chatting. Who was chatting with AWOL about how gross brush looking is? I felt so called out. It wasn't me. It was not me. Would not have been me. Probably Adventure Built. I know they stream together a bit, but like brush licking is gross, but we all do it. I'm not going to shame somebody for it. Like it's a bad habit. Don't lick your oil brushes, but let's be real. Is there any way to actually get that good of a tip on your brush without using your lips? Real brush guy. Okay. Like real brush guy licks his brush too, doesn't he? It's not a good habit, but we all do it. It's one that I think that we should actively work not to. But like typically, even after like I'll wash my brush, I'll soap it, I'll do that, and then like after I've done a full brush wash, I'll use my mouth to reshape the tips. That's actually part of my brush preservation technique is to reshape them with my mouth after I've cleaned them. So I'm not gonna shame anybody. Exactly, and Jinx just got permission to lick Pascal's brushes. What? We're just gonna take that away from her right after we told her it was okay? Ooh. This was a show I was at too recently. I got to go and see Snack the Ripper and Rugged Man. Hilariously, not together, but about a month and a bit apart at the same venue. They both performed. But this is a song with Rugged Man and Snack the Ripper. Snack being a local legend, Stomp Down. Stomp Down over Baxwar. I think that's a fair trade. And you know what? At the end of the day, we're a firm believer in one key expression here at Studio Boneless. 2 consenting adults. I don't care what you guys want to do. I don't care what you want to get up to, as long as it is 2 consenting adults agreeing to it. Do whatever the fuck you guys want to do, as long as both parties consent. That's my motto to life at the end of it. 2 consenting adults. Great, guys. Look what we're starting now. But yeah, no, Mao, absolutely Spoon. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. But yeah, I mean, at the end of it, people can do what they want to do, and as long as both parties are confirming that they are not bothered, I don't mind. That's- Boneless is key to a happy life. Let consenting adults do what consenting adults want to do, and don't let it impact how you live your life in any way, shape, or form. Just remember, more rights for them doesn't mean less rights for you. Just remember, more rights for everyone else doesn't mean less rights for you. It's not pie. You don't lose any because you have to share. Why not both? Jinx, I think I saw that you'd liked the post already, but have you seen Pedro's newest sculpt that he's working on? Is it ready yet? Or is it like, is he just posting the works in progress? Because the Raven Knight, I need it. I need it. I need that model. I think it would be such a good challenge for me to learn how to paint feathers on that, as well the face and the hair, and it's got so much fur texture on it, so I'd really like it would challenge me at all of the things that I've been struggling with, because like let's be real, I can paint good skin. I can paint NMM. It's one of his newest posts. I don't even know if it's on the website yet or if it's just on his Instagram. It's gorgeous though. It's a knight wearing a bird-shaped helmet with a raven on his shoulder, and it's I mean it's classic Pedro. Like it's I don't think I've ever seen anything of his that I didn't like. That being said, his most recent sculpts have really felt pandered to me. I don't know. Maybe him and I just have similar interests. But it really does feel like Pedro's recent sculpts have been like entirely been like, huh, I want to sculpt something exclusively for Studio Boneless. The Raven Knight is probably the only bust I would ever paint and not want to give away. Like, that's one I want to keep. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. I want it, and I don't want to, like, I want that for me. That's the exact one, though. Yes, Jinx. What do you think of that? That's on my to order list. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to pick that one up. Probably gonna, to avoid like the heavy shipping costs, I'm probably hoping I can buy that one at SMC. I'm gonna find out if he's gonna have a booth or not, or if he's gonna be in the vendor hall. I'm gonna try and find out if he's gonna have a booth at the vendor hall. If so, I might actually, yeah, might just email or message him on Instagram about that. Honestly, it saves us both on shipping costs. So if I could tell him, it's like, hey, if you're gonna run a booth at SMC, can you bring a Lord Kenrick and put the name Studio Boneless on it for it? Because yeah, I need to buy a Lord Kenrick. Especially because he doesn't have box art for it, or he doesn't have like painted artwork for it on the website yet. So I'd really, really like to do up You know, I'd really like to try and do up one good enough that he'd want to use it for the site. Honestly, I mean, that would I would be hell. I would even I would do the box art for free just for the model, just for a copy of the model. I would paint the box art for that. I mean, I don't think my work is box art quality, but I think if I got the I'm swooning over Pedro's newest sculpt, Lord Kenrick. Have you seen it yet, Pascal? Was just mentioning that it's like one of his newest ones. Okay, it's linked in chat right now. Yeah, he doesn't even have box art for it yet. So I was talking about how I was like, I want to paint that one so badly that I was like, I would literally be like, hey, dude, I'll do your box art for free if I can just have a copy of the model. But then we were talking about seeing if we should, like, I was going to be like, we should or Jinx is, we were going to check and see if he's going to have a booth at the SMC vendor hall. Because that will be a really good way for me to save on some shipping costs. For both myself and for him. But hoping to buy a few of his pieces while I'm in Europe. I picked up Torn. I think that's the only one I did. It should be linked right above, but I'll post it again in case you didn't see it. There, I reposted it. Don't worry. This you like much? That's one of my favorites. That is one of the best. That is one of my favorite sculpts I've seen. I was saying that model feels like it was sculpted for me, with me in mind. Like I want it. I want to buy a copy of it, and I want to paint it. And yeah, I love it. I absolutely love that. It's stunning. Look, I mean, look at it. It's everything and it's the other. I'm going to. I am planning on it. I do not have the money to purchase it currently, but yes, I'm going to paint it, particularly because as well, something we talked about, Pascal, is like going back. I struggle with good fur, I struggle with hair, and I struggle with feathers. And I can also struggle with developing a lot of texture. So that model has everything I'm bad at on it in a sculpt that I adore. So not only is it making me look at something that I struggle with, but it's also making me want to tackle my failings. Or maybe not failings, let's call them shortcomings. You know, it makes me want to go after and attack and try to improve on things that I've already that I'm typically not the best at. And I think that's how I know it's a significant and important model to me, is it's inspiring me to want to be better at something that I'm not good at. And that's what we should see. That's what we should see. Ursa Grimm was a great model. Shello was still my again. I think Shello is one of my favorite ones you've done because there's just so much texture and good lighting on it. And I used Shella's sword to learn a lot about how to do NMM and OSLs. You want me to coach you with that? Did I hear you say that, or was that my imagination? I mean, yeah, I would love that. I need coaching from every possible source. Well, going into the summertime, if anybody's looking for coaching to improve yourself for convention or anything, there are multiple amazing people I can put you in touch with. Same thing for anybody looking to get a commission done. If you're located in the Great White North, if you are a Canadian, I'm happy to help you out. However, if you're in the continent, or if you were in the US, unfortunately due to tariffs, I am not shipping across the border, so I can put you in touch with an incredible painter if you are US based. However, unfortunately, I can't take US customers currently, so instead, I'll put you in touch with somebody even better. Okay, I got to do the armor on these guys, and then they get mounted. Oh, look, we come back over here, and he's dried. Yay! Let's hit him with a dry brush. Woo! Why am I like this today? But yeah, if anybody is looking for paint coaching or commissions, it just so happens I know people. Boneless is your plug. Boneless is your plug. And even if you're Canadian and looking for something, and if I don't have time, same thing. I even know other Canadian painters. I have my people. You are people. I am one of them. Although I don't do lessons. I teach classes. And if you people like super duper need, I can do like an intro to painting, but I don't do private lessons. I teach on Twitch and I do commission, but I'm not qualified to be teaching private lessons. I don't bring the net. I mean, there's a couple people I do them for, but they're mostly just friends. I don't do privates or like one-on-one lessons for people because I just personally feel for what I would have to charge, there are so many better painters I could put you in touch with that you could learn so much more from. And that's not said to disparage myself. I know what I'm good at. I'm kind of better in a class setting where I can just be instructing everybody to follow along with me, answering the questions as they come up. But the one-on-one setting, I need to be able to move at a much faster pace. And I have a bit less control over what the lesson plan is because when you're doing one-on-ones, you're often teaching what the person wants to learn that day. So sometimes the issue has been like somebody wants a one-on-one, somebody wanted a one-on-one lesson, and I was like, one of the first times I agreed to it, I was like, sure. And then they asked me for it, and I was like, I can't teach you that. To create some texture on the whip, I'm just going to stipple it on both sides. But yeah, I am one of the peoples. I do commission. If you're looking for lessons, though, that's not my domain. And if you are Canadian, I am the peoples. However, if I'm not Canadian, or if you're not Canadians, again, I can put you in touch with the peoples. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna leave them as is there. Because these guys are just like chariot pilots. They're not really the standout on the model. Let's do one more coat of the pink over the helmets to ensure that it looks its absolute righteous best. And there we go. Got the two pilots in. I'll glue them in a second. Do. Okay, let's glue these guys into the chariots now. Bust out ye old super glue. Pretty sure I still have some. There we go. Then we just got to do the bone details once that glue is cured. And then... Oh my goodness. Deny a maker. Then we go like this afterwards. This guy goes in like that. So once we get him done... Actually, his cloak overhangs so much, I can glue him in too. Gotta bring a little bit new orange in, and he should be good too. So we're just reintroducing a bit of the rust. Doesn't have to go everywhere, but, you know. Remember, it dries way more muted than it goes on, so don't be alarmed if it looks super fucking orange right now. That should be good for the rust. There we go. Come on, super glue gel. There we go. Now we just got to get his cloak done up. Couple last little detailies. But we'll connect his gore beast so you can see it again in completion. Because now this needs some airbrushing steps. So, what do you guys think? Gives off a good grimdark feel. The ivory cloak really jumps out. Obviously, we need to clean the cloak up a bit with the airbrush because it's just not reading correctly. But overall, I think that looks pretty fun, pretty good. So we'll touch that up with the airbrush, smooth out a couple of them blends. And yeah, I think the client will be happy with that. And there we go. Second Chariot and second Gore Beast. What are we waiting for on this one? Glue, I think. That's it. Oh, and to put the rider in, right. Okay, get his feetsies with the super glue. And second one mounts. Again, same thing. A little bit of airbrushing to clean these guys up at the end. But overall, same thing. Pretty happy with how that looks. And then I just, again, what I'm waiting on is final approval. Shite. Yeah, now I'm just waiting on the final approval to take this guy and slightly... Catch you later. Oh, shit, I didn't show you out yet either. Spoon handle. And before you go, hope you have a good one. Hope the job goes quick, easy, and smooth. And also, we love Spoon Handle around here, so make sure you're following him. Great guy, great person. Like, all of the positive things about the hobby. What we're going to do here is... Awesome. I got the go-ahead. All right. Haven't had to do this in a long time. Let's do a conversion. So, easiest way to do this is also the hardest way to do this, because if you fuck this up, you fuck it up. So, don't make mistakes. Mistakes are for cowards. You're going to need fire as well for this. Be very careful not to start a fire while you do this too. See, like that, those chains caught very quickly. So did those ones. So we really got to control the angle of the flame. There we go. We're getting some movement. Let's target this leg now. And there we go. Hold him in place for a moment to give the legs a moment to kind of warp correctly. Let's see how he's going to fit really quickly. Almost. Thank goodness this is a Nurgle army. There we go. Now the legs work correctly. Now he can correctly slot in. Yeah. Pull those around. Voila. There we go. We got the Chaos Lord on champion. You're just ready to clip something catastrophic. I mean, the model caught fire 4 times, and I just quickly blew it out. But it works with the test fit. It's going to be a little awkward to get in because we got to bend some pieces to make them fit. But now we have a Chaos Lord on Chariot. That's really cool, and I'm really thankful that he gave me the go-ahead for that because this is a cool model. And I feel like I can do some cool stuff with it. It's always nice when the client, like, I don't know. It's taken me a long time to get this guy's trust to the point where I can just text him something really quickly and be like, hey, can I do this really quick? And again, the beauty of it is that we didn't actually really lose anything on that because it was like, it's a Nurgle model, so if we lost any detail, it's on a hidden part. If the legs are bent technically incorrectly, they just need to look right enough from a distance. Let that dry. But yeah, sometimes you just got to light your model on fire a couple times to make it bend into the position you want it to. And also, where's the fun in, not horrifying your audience from time to time? People need to feel that level of suspense. There's the, you gotta, the only way to occasionally reel them back in. It's like horror movies, like if it's all tension all the time, it's never tense because you become accustomed to that level of tension. You need to have moments of calm in order for the tension to hit. So by having that nice, calm, chill stream, exactly, I got to create the roller coaster. Keep things nice and cool, then light a model on fire. The other thing I was going to mention, if I fuck the legs up too badly, I had a pair of backup legs in the other room to use. That's the only reason I was willing to take that level of risk, is I did have a replacement. Great Canadian band, great Canadian song. Well, the sun was setting in the west, and the birds were singing in every tree. No, nature seemed inclined to the rest, but still there was no rest for me. I grieved to leave my native land, and I grieved to leave my comrades all, and my parents whom I love so dear, and the bonny, bonny lassies that I do so adore. Models ready for priming, hell yeah! You did it, Pascal. You did it. And you didn't even have to set it on fire. Or did you? Did you also have to light your model on fire to make it work? Well, the sun would set the war's alarm, and the captain cries, so we must obey. You don't know that. That's heading out to spray paint. Don't let the rattle can catch fire. Fun fact, this is a Stompin' Tom Connors cover. Farewell to Nova Scotia is actually a cover of Canadiana singer Stompin' Tom Connors. Or would be a great way to take the flashing and the mold lines. This is actually the original version of Farewell to Nova Scotia. In the West. Ye old Stompin' Tom Connors. He also wrote the hockey song. And there we go. A bit of the cream color. And Actually, I'm going to bring this color across the outsides of the shields as well, because it's so much easier to establish the pink over this color. So there runs a cold on their breath. There we go. Got the shield. Green is still drying on him. I guess while the green dries on him, we can pop. Oh, look at this. We got this guy over here. Let's quickly maybe hit him with the washes over his metals. Helmet on him. Add it on this. And then fun fact. I've been trying to put more and more and more time in my free time into working on the tabletop game. And I've gotten another page and a half of concept art done, which is good because I'm not a great concept artist, but I have been doing a bit of study on concept art and understanding that the art doesn't actually need to be great. It just needs to get the ideas across. So I've been focusing very much on just trying to have notes describing my work, my ideas, my thoughts, and then also kind of just quick sketches of like what I'm seeing. And yeah, so we've got I got one of the war bands ready to go. And of course, everything will still need playtesting, balancing, figuring out how it's all going to work. But I got the aesthetic design of one of my war bands finished. Means I only have 9 more to go. Because I want to provide 10 options. Despite the fact it's going to be agnostic. Because I can't afford a sculptor. So it will be agnostic because I can't currently afford a sculptor. However, beyond that, it will we've gotten some design elements done, got a bunch of several pages of rules written, and now we are working on drawing, getting actual design going, and figuring out factions and setting and world and all that. And it's coming along. It is coming along. I've got a group of guys that I'm going to do some playtesting with probably in the next month. We're going to do like our first real round of alpha testing. I have a friend who actually genuinely wants to sit around and spend a whole day alpha testing the game with me, so I'm going to be like, okay, let's do it. Which is good because then, I can get a second person in on the rules writing. Damn, you take that kind of help, right? Right? If somebody wants to do a fucking day of alpha testing with me for free, it's like, yeah, come on over. Let's do rules testing, because it's exactly. Especially because he is a guy who's he's into tabletop gaming, he's into all of this stuff, he's into tabletop RPGs. So he'll be able to actually provide a little bit of insight on being like, okay, this is fun, this is not fun. This was a cool idea, but I don't think it's working. So yeah, I'd like to do at some point as well. I'd like to design one of the warbands with stream. It's going to be a bit further down the line, but it is something I would like to do, is use stream to help design one of the warbands. We'll use a creative pooling idea. Take you guys, and it also take you guys kind of through my creative process a bit when I'm doing this type of stuff, because you'll see what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking about, where my ideas are coming from. But yeah, we'll go through, I think, sometime on stream, and when I'm a little further along, and we'll do I don't know, I think warband number 8 we'll do together on stream. That gives me quite a few of them to kind of figure it out and learn. But so far, the 2 that I've drawn up or 2 that I have the concept art done for, are the Plague Watchers and the Circle of Paladins, with the next one coming up being the Band of Bastards. Fun fact about the Band of Bastards, that was the name of my Mordheim team back in 2013. In 2013, my Mordheim gang was, or team was, or warband, whatever you want to call it, was called the Band of Bastards. And I have used that name for my warbands ever since, because I really liked that. And like I've reused that one since. Which then I got frustrated when that name was used in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, because I was like, great, now nobody's ever going to be able to, like, now I'm never going to be able to claim originality on the name. I mean, it's not a really original or creative name to begin with, but thankfully they can't trademark it, because the Band of Bastards is also historical. It's a historical group, so technically they existed, so they can't tell me I can't use it, because I'm like, I'm not stealing anything, I'm borrowing from history. Okay, and in a moment, I'm going to pop over. I got to feed my chickens. So yeah, we've got a few factions. I got a couple other ones planned as well, just not fully fleshed out. I've only got 3 of them fleshed out right now. That's kind of the issue, is I want everything to feel alive enough that because the other thing I want to do and be able to provide for people is the ability to create their own warbands based on the available lore that I can provide. So allowing people the chance to create something of their own within the world. And also setting in, the rule sets for how to make your own warbands. So, like making sure that that's the other thing, is having to balance things around. So that's what's going to take the most playtesting, I think, is being able to figure out that it's like, okay, so if you're doing custom warbands, figuring out what works and what doesn't work, so we don't have players being like, oh, the game ended up runaway because we created custom warbands with all of the most OP things. It's like, so having to figure out then how to work around how metagamers are going to try and exploit things, and being prepared for that and trying to think of that ahead of time. A lot of this cloak is going to need to be airbrushed back together, but we're just going to pull a little glaze over a lot of that, smooth things out. I've placed paint on the model. Hell yeah, Pascal. My cat even just squeaked for you. Do you hear that? Do you want the rest of your wet food, baby? Not about to see your light. And if you want to find hell with me. Okay, I gotta... I guess you didn't want wet food. Okay, at this point, I'm just going to let his brother finish the dregs because I don't want to throw it out. Okay, and next up, this one's now dried. So this is what I mean when I say, guys, we're going to be working in circles a lot as we get down to the last couple of models, because there's only so much you can do. So now that this one's all green, we're going to come back in, orange him up again. I know it's blowing everyone's mind how it can go from looking so shitty to so good so quickly. That's the beauty of painting. Once you can see through the ugly stages, you can move pretty fast. I don't think anybody in here with a significant amount of experience would disagree with that statement either. Is that, like, once you know what your ugly phases look like, you don't panic, you don't slow down, because you're like, you don't have that moment of going, I'm doing something wrong. You're just like, yep, this is what it looks like at this point. Better slap some more paint down. I don't even know if this whole recipe is necessary or if everything reads at the end the way I layer all the colors together, but I'm not willing to not do it because it's been consistent across the whole project. Ooh, that's a good question. If you do pink, like, do you mean purple? Do you mean skin or clothes? Well, we're gonna get a qualifying question here first, Pascal. Skin or clothes? Skin. Purple. Purple-skinned orcs will all look like Dr. Mundo. But yeah, that's also a good point, is having varied skin tones on your orcs is having varied skin tones on your orcs. Like, you could do purple and pinks and it will still look good together as long as you pick similar-ish tones. I was almost thinking more like a lilac-y. Like, again, think if you're familiar with, like, League of Legends, or if any of you guys watched, like, Arcane. But, like, think like Dr. Mundo. Or, like, the purple from the Shimmer. I don't care what anybody says. Arcane was fucking incredible. It ended a little too soon. It definitely needed a third season, but Arcane was incredible. Just so good. It's like it was so good. I watched it like 4 times. It was so good. Since you picking Discord DM? Hell yeah, let's take a look. Will not bring it up on screen because it's a DM. Oh, okay, yeah. So you're going for Fell. You're wanting to think Fell orc like Outlands. What I would say is try the Zenithal approach that we talked about, where you dry brush the model with the gray and then dry brush the model with the white before you start the painting process, so that way you get your multicolored tones. And then try something like a thinned out Flesh Terror's red. For the purple, it would be kind of the same process, except I would use a thinned out Druchii violet. Wow, this song is way louder than any of the other songs in my playlist. I'm okay with that, though. He ain't gonna die. So black, then which gray? Doesn't matter. You said you own Eshin Gray? If you own Eshin Gray, use Eshin Gray. So here it doesn't matter what gray. What matters is that you have a gray. Because what you're wanting to do is you just want to create essentially. I'll see if I have something on hand that I can take. Okay, actually, I do have one on hand. So essentially, what you're trying to do, Nemesis, is create this effect with the dry brush, right? I would use can you send me a picture of the 3 of them? Just like if you could just snap even like a quick cell phone picture, just because I don't know those colors. Like I if you said cadmium red, I know what cadmium red looks like, but the problem with those like the renamed paints is I just don't know the pigments off the top of my head. So if you could send me a picture of your triad there with the Eshin, the Greyseer, and the Althurin, I'll be able to give you a better example of what I'm saying. But yeah, the long and short of it is you want to create this effect with your dry brush before you start applying your contrasts or your paints. And that's going to be the easiest and the first way to learn how your highlights and your shadows are going to be placed on the models. Oh, heck yeah. Forgot about that. Some big ass bone details here, so let's paint that in. You feel better after a poop, Sigurd? You made eye contact with me the entire time you were in there, so you better feel better. Does anybody else have a cat that will only poop if it can look directly at you while it's doing it? Thank you. So I would go... I would just go Eshin Gray into Althurin Gray. Or Althuin Gray. And that would be my triad. So I would prime black, dry brush Eshin Gray, dry brush Althuin Gray. And that would give me the... Dawnstone, I do know, is kind of... So actually, I'm going to say swap out... Dawnstone is kind of a medium gray, right? Like, it's not as dark as the Eshin, but it's way brighter. Discord, exclamation point first, Mr. Arthur Steven. Also, welcome in. Yeah, so I would start actually, I would go Dawnstone. So I would go Prime Black, Dawnstone, Althuin Gray. And that's going to give you kind of the better example of what you're looking for. But welcome in. Hope you're having a great day. Black, Dawnstone, Alt. Yes, that would be my workup. And then because you're painting mostly with contrast right now, right? If I remember correctly, you're still using a lot of contrast in your workups. Yeah, so that would be my approach then. Quick, simple, but effective. And using just a quick wet on wet right now. And so we're just going to get a really fast kind of bone tone. Okay, we'll do some kibbles in just a moment, baby boy. How's that sound? I'm not sure if you guys can hear meowing. If you didn't know, I talk to my cat. That's what I call my sex music. The bone tone. I just call mine Barry White. Maybe start with a Barry White. Maybe start with Doomfire Magenta to get the base pink, then a Crimson Shade for the darker areas, maybe then the dry brush of something else. So that works too. That is a technique that I use in some of my commission stuff. I would still say establish the initial 3-tier dry brush, or still establish your initial dry brushing across the whole model. You can apply all your coat, or you can apply all of your contrast over the model, let it dry, so make sure all your details are hit once. You can do another quick dry brushing of a lighter color over top of it, and then one more coat of your colors if you want to get the richer tones like you're talking about. So yeah, that is... We used to call that method the double slap chop, and that is genuinely how I got through the 330-point Goblin commission. Is the only way I was able to crush out that commission was through utilizing that exact method. 3,000 points at Night Goblins would have not been possible otherwise.
Shorzy, you ready?
Give your
Ooh,
balls
Raid
some
from
time,
Adventure
motherfucker.
Bill.
You're going.
Yeah.
Frankie, you ready? You're going.
Yeah.
Judy, you ready?
Let's
fucking go, Sanger.
Good, cause you're going.
Yeah.
Hitch, you ready?
All hands,
Good,
boys.
cause you're going.
Yeah.
Dolo, run him up and fill him in.
Une fois, mon Sanger.
Good, cause you're fucking going.
Yeah.
The best goalie in the no-show, Michaels, you ready?
You damn right, Sanger.
Good, cause you're fucking going.
Yeah.
Pack mentality, boys. What's up, Liza? Welcome in, Adventure Build. Welcome in. Hope you had yourself an amazing stream today. I'm doing great. Doing great. If anybody in here does not know Adventure Build, he is a fantastic fellow Canadian streamer who does miniatures, he does painting, he does terrain, and is all around a fun and funny guy. So make sure you're giving him support and click that follow button. And welcome in, Liza. Hope you're having a great day. If you want to share what you were working on today, Adventure Build, you are more than welcome to. You know we link friendly in here. So if you want to drop your Instagram in chat for anyone to check out, or if you want to, you know, show off what you've been doing, we would love to see it. And if you don't have photos ready, or if you got a raid and run, totally get it. Sent another pick boneless. Excellent. Let's take a look at that one. What do we got going on here? Okay, so... Okay, so... Volupus Pink. Easy, that's Volupus Pink. Take a look. Like it's that pink, essentially, that you're after. Volupus Pink Contrast will do that for you. Again, use the exact dry brush method we talked about there. Volupus Pink, thin it down, go with 2 parts contrast to 1 part water. So you need to get it's not a heavy watering down, but you want to mix for every 2 parts paint, you want about 1 part water in that, and that's going to give you that exact pink. Paint an NMM on the Tinker Fairy. Tinker Fairy is like going to be, I don't know. I'm nervous about Tinker Fairy. Ooh, let's take a look. Fun other things. Always love fun other things. More squigs. Oh, I was here for that stream. Oh, that was an awesome stream too. I was there when you were doing those ones. That was really fun. I love squigs. They're one of my favorite like models. Squigs and grots. Sweeping in straightish lines. It also depends on schoolwork. Thanks for Father's Day, so maybe next weekend. That's fair. Wait, who said nervous? I missed something. Who's nervous about what? Am I nervous? I think I missed a message. To Tinker Fairy. Oh, because I have to go up against that. It's me hoping that we're not graded on a bell curve is all. Because we're both going into standard division, and I'm like, I don't have anything that stacks. Like, I'm gonna try really hard, but I don't have anything right now in my kit or anywhere close to anything that would stack up to Tinker Fairy. Yeah, no, Tinker Fairy makes me nervous because I'm like, if they grade us on a bell curve, I'm like... I'm so I am so excited for you, and I'm so excited to be going to SMC. And I want to be very clear about that first and foremost. But I think it's just like seeing you. Hell yes. Let's take a look at that. Oh, that is an old school failcast tank buster. Free-handed checkers on the rockets. Great texture on the skin. It's a really vibrant red you have going on there. And I just want to take a moment and say you did a really, really, really good job cleaning this model and getting it done, because it is potentially one of the worst casts I've ever seen. I've owned this model before, and the amount of flash and mold lines and bullshit on this makes the new Titus model look like it was well done. That's the pewter one? Okay. They released that sculpt twice. It was both pewter and fine cast. If that's the pewter one, that's beautiful. It's still a great sculpt, and I love that model. But that is the old school tank bust model, and it's the one downside to when you're looking at a photo, it can be a little hard to identify the difference between the fine cast and the pewter. Because they did re-release a couple of the sculpts that way. And if anybody ever built, because I had the fine cast tank busta, and that was the worst GW model I've ever owned. Actually, that's not true. Worst GW model of all time, in my opinion, goes to the current AOS Chaos Knights, because if you follow the instructions, they don't go together. And I build my models with plastic cement. So if I build my models in the incorrect order and then they don't go together, you know who's in a great fucking mood? This guy. That happens way too much with GW stuff, where it just... Chariot goes off to the side. Let's hit the Chaos Warrior with his Dark Wash now. Where's my Basilicanum Gray? Oh, that's Black Templar. That's not the one I want. There's Basilicanum. Basilicanum Gray, remember not to shake it, because this pot won't seal for some reason. Yeah, it's so the new Chaos Warriors kit, fun fact, I got so mad making them on stream, I actually dissolved them into a pot of sprue goo. I was so angry, I cut one of the models into tiny pieces and then dissolved him in a vat of acid live on camera. Not sprue, chopped the model into pieces and threw it into a thing of plastic cement. James Bond style. Like like a full-blown Bond villain. And there we go. That is... I'm jumping around so much right now. I'm coming to do the green step on this guy now. Who knows? Maybe we do some more sliming today. Nah, I have to do some airbrushing before I can do some sliming. Jump, jump, jump around. Fucking love that song. I think Everlast is one of my favorite rappers turned country singer, or like turned like folk rock singers turned back rappers. Like I'm not sure if y'all are Everlast fans, but I definitely am. Oh, he's on tour right now. Cool. Just missed him. That sucks. Dying right now. It's 10 p.m. and it's still 26 Celsius. It's currently 19 degrees Celsius in my house because I've had the air conditioning on. For the Americans in here, I keep my house at a steady 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I keep my house at 68 Fahrenheit. Need to lyric. No worries, Adventure Built. I hope you have a great day. And once again, if anybody in here is not following Adventure Built, please make sure you give them the same love and support you've been giving us this whole time. It'll just put a fan on yourself. Or like, do you have a fan? But yeah, on the topic of Everlast, this is now just gonna play some Everlast. I should have called. I have a fan. She's called Jinxed. I have a fan. Oh yes, haha! I'm realizing. Sorry, that I'm a little slow on the uptake right now. And there we go. Those cream robes are starting to come together more and more. We still have to do the airbrushing to smooth them out at that last bit. Food in the baby girl's belly. 'Cause the senator man took a bribe in hand. He went, ship my job to New Delhi. I get by. And same thing. I'm going to just kind of come in with a bit of a mid-tone glaze, I think. Again, bring a bit more warmth into the cloak. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my actual dark paint really quick. We're just going to kind of pull this into the deep shadows really quickly. Just to get us on the little bits of separation. And again, remember that I am going to come back in with an airbrush to smooth all this out. So this is really just about getting us some nice areas of contrast. There we go. Got those shadows appearing. Get one last deep one right through here because that is a dark fold. Excellent. Next up, would you guys believe it? We do the orange again. Now he needs to dry for a moment. This one is still not dry enough to move on to the next stages of. But I think I can do a little bit on his shield. And let's take that, let that dry for a moment. And I'm going to bring a bit of the cream in back onto the shoulders here. Right now, drying time is kind of the thing that's making this take the longest. But you will hit a point when you're painting where that tends to be the case, where you're constantly just waiting for things to dry and can't do much about it. Now that I've done that on that one, I'm going to come back in with even thinner highlights of the pure ivory now. And then we will go in, I think, and do the airbrushing. I think this guy, once we get the black wash on him, he's at the airbrushing stage. But oh no, sorry, because he's getting his robes done, he needs to be airbrushed, or he needs the black wash after the airbrushing. Getting the order right on these guys is awkward. So if you are new here, please consider hitting the follow button. Helps out a ton. We'll keep you up to date on all the projects. And there we go. Start working in the magenta of the shield. We're literally just trying to work on whatever elements of the model are dry enough to paint right now. Which is pretty much none of them now. So we might be getting an early day today. That's okay, though. We'll see. We'll probably be able to get this, stretch it out for another half hour. We might rate out about an hour early today. Friday tends to be a really good day for content anyways, so. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna give that a moment to dry. While that's happening, let's go harvest the wheat in Valheim. Or the barley, sorry. Barley. Dropping things. There's some cloudberries for the locks. That'll do the man. I always did what I was told. Here we go. Get the wheat, get the barley. Should keep the chickens and the locks fed for a while. Quickly feed the locks. Feed my chickens. And get the rest of my 200 barley. All right, that should keep the chickens fed for a while. You guys aren't laying any eggs, are you? You guys gotta lay me more eggs. Get to work, you lazy bastards. Waited all day and all you've accomplished is one egg? At least the locks are... At least the locks are going pretty wild. All right, guys. You better make me... There better be more stuff when I get back. Started painting the Conan inspired. Ooh, how you enjoying that Berserk? Oh no. Oh no. I've spilt paint on models before. I spilled paint on Astaroth. My airbrush exploded on him. Got a nice ass sword. Okay. I'm going to grab his chariot here because this is going to be the hardest part again, is getting him into place now. But we can technically put him in because anything else now we're going to be able to see what is and isn't. Okay, let's go do the most nerve-wracking part. How did I make this fit before? What's making me mad is we did a test fit first to make sure that this worked. There we go. Holy shit. It was a very, very specific way he'll go. And then the cape covers up enough of the sin that you can't really see that his legs are a little goofy. Okay. So we go to Chaos Lord and Chariot. There we go. And that literally just leaves this guy who needs some airbrushing. And one final step before he gets airbrushed is just slapping down one little bit of pink. Because it's been almost 4 hours and I don't really have anything else planned or ready for today, we're probably going to raid out here in about, 5-10 minutes. So again, if you're new here, please consider hitting follow. Would help out a ton. Beyond that, I hope everybody has an amazing day. I hope everybody enjoys their painting and gets through lots and lots of models. And tomorrow I'll pivot into gotta go walk the dog. Hell yeah. We're about to raid out anyways, Pascal, so don't stress. We But yeah, we're gonna raid out pretty quick here because my brain's not ready to pivot from commission mode to display mode. So we're gonna close it up, and then I'm gonna get through. Like I'm not done painting for the day, but I have to get like what I need to get done from here is airbrushing, and that's just I don't have a setup to do that on stream anymore. So thank you everybody who's tuned in. Thank you to the raiders. Thank you to the follows. Thank you to everybody who has hung out and supported. Take a look at who's live. Ooh, on our list. Let's go White Wolf. Let's go see White Wolf. He's always great. And he was in here hanging out earlier, and I want to see what he was working on. Let's all go and see what White Wolf was up to. Have a good night, everybody. And I will see you guys on Sunday.